At least 60 people, including four police officers, were killed in a large-scale operation against organized crime in Rio de Janeiro on Tuesday, October 28, according to a Rio state government source. Authorities said the remaining fatalities were suspected drug traffickers linked to the Maduro'S gang. The government described the raid as its largest ever, with 56 arrests made and 250 warrants issued.
I don't know what the hell he's saying, man. I think he's trying to say something happened in Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro. Cartel. Actually, was that Routers? I don't know who said that, but
security forces and drug cartels, leaving at least 80 people dead. This is the largest armed confrontation in Brazil in recent decades, The Guardian reported. According to the publication, about 2,500 law enforcement officers and special forces stormed the Alameo and Penha favelas, neighborhoods near the international airport. These areas are considered strongholds of the Red Command, one of the country's most powerful drug cartels. The operation began at dawn. In response, militants opened fire, set vehicles on fire, and erected barricades. According to local media, for the first time in Brazil's history, drug traffickers used combat FPV drones to drop explosives on police units. The cartel.
Damn, FPV drones. What the hell is that? What is an FPV drone? FPV drone is a drone that provides a first-person view, allowing the pilot to see from drone's perspective in real time through FPV goggles or a screen. What the hell?
Cartels, which control up to 70% of the city's drug market, declared a lockdown, ordering residents.
Damn, they selling drugs through the FPVs, man, through the drones. It's crazy, man. We in a whole new world. Now you can drug deal with drones.
Not to leave their homes. By noon, the death toll had surpassed 80, including 4 police officers. Several other officers and local residents were injured. Rio State Governor Claudio Castro stated that the city is effectively in a state of war. He said that during the operation, more than 80 people were detained and over 40 automatic rifles were seized. Meanwhile, representatives of left-wing parties called the actions of the security forces a state massacre and accused the government of turning poor neighborhoods into real war zones. The United States.
They're going to be doing the same thing over here, claiming that it's just going to be all political. Meanwhile, shit's going on and people are going to still have these political views. And meanwhile, the Lord's sending judgment inside, and you're going to be worried about what the left party saying and the right, blaming it on each other the whole time. Prophecies being fulfilled, and you don't see it coming. You know, a lot of people, they're going to get caught up in all this crap, man.
States is deploying more than 4,000 Marines and.
Let me start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, and Rabbi Nab coming out with a lesson Lord's will satisfying.
Sailors to waters around Latin American and Caribbean countries to strengthen efforts against drug cartels.
And that's what they're doing now. They just blew up some more. I think he blew up 4 more those boats in Venezuela, claiming that it's because of drugs and all of that. And he's getting away with a lot of these things. As long as he keeps whatever he says he's doing it for, then people are going to, you know, even though not everyone agrees with him, but it still buys him it gives him some leverage, because, you know, as long as he's telling you they're drug cartels, it justifies the means, even though it's not proven yet. And he ain't going to prove it because it's not. He's at war with them. And that's why Maduro wants to have some type of agreement with him.
U.S. President Donald Trump has secretly signed a directive authorizing direct military operations against Latin American drug cartels designated as foreign terrorist organizations.
And look at the timing of all this going on, man. Or now you need to tell them that they're foreign terrorist organizations. What do you have to do with why are they doing this now? They're doing this now because they're going to start doing that over here. And you're going to be blaming you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans Don't get me wrong, some of y'all are wicked and probably are selling drugs. You know, probably a lot of y'all are. But the fact of the matter is he's not using it just to, he been knew you were doing that. He can just take you down easily. He don't even need to set up a whole thing like this, an operation like this. But these are the small people, man. People who are on the street, that's the small, that's not even the major problem. The big problem is where the shit's coming from. You need major fields, like big, huge fields to grow it. It's not like they're making this stuff in their apartments and then they're going out on the streets and selling this shit, man. Esau got his hand in all of this. That's a civil war, man. That sounds like a civil war. Your own people against your own government, that's a civil war.
Chuva de tiro.
This is like horrible video, man. I don't know what 13 Canal, I don't know who's. The show is just, that's it. 80 people dead, 4 police officers. Let's see what Duck's doing.
Fox News alert, 14 narco-terrorists just became fish food. Trump just smoked 4 more Coke boats in the Eastern Pacific. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel's here. Mike.
Trump smokes 4 more Coke boats, they call them.
Who's here? Mike.
Jesse, the U.S. military at President Trump's direction has carried out at least 13 of these strikes on alleged drug boats. The U.S. military says the 4 boats taken out in the latest strikes were known by U.S. intelligence, being watched as they were traveling along known narco-trafficking routes. And the U.S. is convinced they were transporting narcotics. These strikes are turning up the pressure on Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, along with a stepped-up U.S. military presence in the region. The Justice Department announced a $50 million reward for information leading to Maduro's arrest. A key U.S. senator warning on 60 Minutes, Maduro's running out of time, and there are 3 options. He leaves, he gets captured by the U.S., or is assassinated.
If I was Maduro, I'd head to Russia or China right now.
Because
his days are numbered. Something's going to happen. Whether it's internal or external, I think something's going to happen.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth writing on X, quote, "The department has spent over 2 decades defending other homelands. Now we're defending our own. These narco-terrorists have killed more Americans than Al-Qaeda, and they will be treated the same. We will track them, we will network them, and then we will hunt and kill them." All indications more strikes are likely as this pressure campaign is ongoing. Jesse?
And after you kill them, what are you going to do? Set up your own puppet government there, and then it's going to continue like it's always been? Hell out of here. Is this going to give me some better...
it will pass, it will pass, it will, it will. will.
Real bugged out, man.
Get here, okay? Now, we have 56 criminals arrested so far, 18 criminals neutralized, 31 rifles seized, in addition to a large quantity of drugs that cannot yet be measured, because they are still in the middle of combat. It's a larger operation than the one in 2010, and unfortunately, this time, as throughout this entire term, we have no assistance, not even from armored vehicles, nor from any agent from the federal forces, neither security nor defense.
It's like a bootleg movie, man. You can't get nothing out of it.
This morning, concerns that Amazon, the second largest private employer in the country, is planning one of the biggest workplace transformations in modern history.
In a fulfillment center, the Cardinal robot will pack packages into carts.
The New York Times, citing leaked documents, reports Amazon expects sales to double by 2033, growth that would normally require 600,000 more workers. But the company is reportedly looking to fill those jobs with robots and automate 75% of its operations.
We could do this with our robot. We could do this with our technology. That's what we're going to do.
In the near future, Amazon reportedly...
You still gonna buy products off of Amazon after they just kicked 600,000 workers. People are crazy, man. That shows you how stupid you really are, because if a company is doing that, getting rid of all of its workers, and you still buy from them, you're complacent in them, in the downfall of your own system. This is why it's not a sustainable system, because the people they're just so stupid. They're just completely dumb. And he's allowed to operate a whole business like this without, any, ain't nothing really you can do about it, but it just goes to show you this place is through. You're through. And then what are you going to do when you don't have any work? So now he has more control over you.
The estimates automation could help it save more than $12 billion.
It's saving $12 billion by not paying you. But you gotta have you're gonna be in the food lines begging for food, begging for your bills getting paid and stuff like that. Meanwhile, everything else is gonna be moving. He's gonna still be making money while you begging for change, and they're gonna be starting to feed you shit. They're gonna start feeding you shit that's like made out of who knows what, and you're gonna eat it.
Shave about 30 cents off each item it ships. In a statement, Amazon said the leaked documents reflect the perspective of just one team and don't represent our overall hiring strategy, adding that the company is actively hiring and plans to fill 250,000 positions for the holiday season.
One of the things that we've been proud of over our 10-year history is the ability to develop robots that work well alongside people.
It comes amid growing fears of technology replacing human workers. The so-called godfather of artificial intelligence has been sounding the alarm.
If I worked in a call center, I'd be terrified. If I was someone like a legal assistant, a paralegal, they're not going to be needed for very long. For mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
That's right.
Amazon
No work for Egypt. Aren't you excited about all this? I can't wait. Trump speaks at Apex CEO. I don't care. Trump will send National Guard to troubled cities, whether people like that or not. Oh, yeah?
Our people in the service, and people don't care. If we send in our military, if we send in our National Guard, if we send in Space Command, they don't care who the hell it is, they just want to be safe. And we have safe cities now. We're starting in Memphis. And Memphis was a disaster. It's been there. They've been there for 2 weeks, and it's a whole different story. Crime is less than half, and within a month it'll be gone. Getting rid of all the bad ones. And we're going to go into Chicago. We're going to go into our cities. We're going to clean them out. We're going to straighten them out. And we're going to have safe cities because you want to protect safe cities. We're going to have
They're going to be so safe, you're not even going to be able to come out your house.
beautiful, safe cities, and it's happening very quickly and very easily, actually. It's easy for us. It's hard for them. And we have to have a little more help. It doesn't matter, really. We can do as we want to do, but it would be nice to have more help from some of the Democrat governors that don't mind. In Chicago, 2 weeks ago, 4 people murdered, 11 people shot. This weekend, it was like terrible, much worse than that. And then we have a governor that stands up and says, oh, it's wonderful. It's not wonderful. And what we're doing is we're going to make it totally safe. It'll be very safe very soon. And we're doing that with all of our cities that are troubled. We have cities that are troubled. We can't have cities that are troubled. And we're sending in our National Guard. And if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities. We're not going to have people killed in our cities. And whether people like that or not, that's what we're doing. And you've been watching what our missiles do to boats and ships and submarines. How about the submarine? They said, no, that was just fishing. The radical left Democrats said, well, it was a submarine, but they were just fishing. Submarine.
See, even it's funny how the talking points of both of these parties are the same. He's coming in with rap just like what's going on in Brazil. They're saying that, you know, they're turning, the left over there is saying, oh, well, they're turning your cities into all of this, but you got rampant drugs and people shooting at the police, and you know, not that I'm taking a side, it's just showing you how they can politicize everything. Meanwhile, the craziest shit's going on, and it's like them pointing the finger at each other. Meanwhile, the things are still happening, just like your government's still being shut down. They're still not coming together and coming up with a solution, but you're still having to face the fact that your government shut down. Okay, let me look at some precepts. Let's see what comes with counsel. Isaiah 40, and what's that? Isaiah 40. Isaiah 46. No, it's not 40. Let's go to Isaiah 40. Isaiah 40 and 14, with whom took he counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and showed to him the way of understanding. Nobody showed the Lord anything. Okay, that's where understanding comes from. Isaiah 44, verse 26, that confirmeth the word of his servant, and performeth the counsel of his messengers, that saith to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited, and to the cities of Judah ye shall be built, and I will raise up the decayed places thereof. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Maybe it's in there more. Isaiah 40, verse 14. What's this about the greatness of God? What precept am I looking for? The council, bringeth the justice, the princes to nothing. He maketh the judges of the earth his vanity. I can't think of the precept. The Lord destroys the counsel. Something like that. I think it's Isaiah. The phrase "the Lord destroys the counsel" can be found in the King James Version of the Bible, most notably Psalms 33 and 10. Let's see what that is. Psalms 33 and 10. The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. Let's start there. Let's go there. Because that's what they're doing. They're coming up with each other, trying to come up with a solution, but nothing's happening. Let's cross-reference that. Isaiah 44. Bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. Isaiah 44. Is it down here? Isaiah 44 and 25. That frustrateth the tokens of the liars and making the diviners mad. That turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish. Let's go there. Isaiah 44 verse 25. We'll go to Isaiah 44. The folly of idolatry. God forgives and redeems. Isaiah 44 verse 21. Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. Israel. Jacob. All right, the Israelites. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Okay, so thy transgressions, not everybody, not the sins of the whole world, the sins of Jacob and Israel, the northern and the southern kingdom. Sing, O ye heavens, the heavens are you Israelites. Okay, what's that precept? The kingdom of heaven is within you. Luke 17 and 20. Let's go there. Showing this is talking about Israel. Luke 17 and 20. Let me read the 17 and 20. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here, lo there, for behold, the kingdom of heaven of God is within you. Okay? It is within you because you are the believers. Okay? Luke 17 and 21 can mean that the kingdom of God is either present among you in Yahweh's presence and his followers, or it is within you as internal spiritual reality. The verse was Yahweh's response to Pharisees who were asking for an outward or observable sign of the kingdom arrival. Instead, he was telling them it was already present, either physically or in their midst, or spiritually within the hearts of those who would believe. And that's who it's in. Within the hearts of those who would believe. All right. Sing, O ye heavens, which are you believers, for the Lord have done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth. Break forth into singing. Ye mountains, O forests, and every tree therein. For the Lord have redeemed Jacob and glorified himself in Israel. Okay, redeemed Jacob, not the whole world. Jacob is Israel. Jacob also in this case would represent. Jacob is Israel, but it's a representation of all the Israelites. Isaiah 44 and 24. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. So you were formed from the womb to be an Israelite. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself. He's the one who created everything, and through his son and his elect he used them to do it, but he was the one who gave the blueprint, so to speak, on how it was to be created. That all came from the Lord. That's why he gets all the praise. Isaiah 44 and 24 states that the Lord is the redeemer and maker of all things, who stretches out the heavens and spreads out the earth by himself. The verse meaning is that God is the sole creator of the universe, demonstrating his incomparable power and authority. Isaiah 44 verse 25, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars and maketh the diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish. And that's what the Lord's doing with the counsel of these heathen, man. You know, he's making their token. Let's look this up. He's making them look foolish in everything that they're doing. They're doing it to try to accomplish a goal. They want to bring in the enterprise. But at the same time, as they're trying to do that, he gonna put a wrench in there. Okay, he's messing it up. It's not gonna go as smoothly as he has it in his head. It's like it tells you in I think it's Job maybe 5. Yeah, Job 5. And let me start from the top. Job 5:1. Call now, if there be any that will answer thee. Into which of the saints wilt thou turn? For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. I have seen the foolish taken root, but suddenly I cursed his habitation. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them. Whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh it even out of the thorns, and the robber swalloweth up their substance. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them. That's Job 5 talking about. What is Job 5 talking about? Job, the 5th chapter, is a speech by Job's friend Eliphaz, who argues that Job's suffering is a result of his sins and advises him to repent to receive God's blessing. Eliphaz's main point is that human life is inherently prone to trouble, that God's discipline is a sign of love, and that the righteous are blessed while the wicked are not. All right, so Eliphaz is speaking. Wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. Job 5 and 5. Whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh the even out of the thorns, and the robber swalloweth up their substance. Although affliction cometh not forth of the dust, neither doth trouble spring out of the ground, yet man is born unto trouble as the sparks fly upward. I would seek unto God, and unto God will I commit my cause, which doeth great things and unsearchable marvelous things without number, who giveth rain upon the earth and sendeth waters upon the fields, to set up on high those that be low, that those which mourn may be exalted to safety. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And this is the Lord. Okay, and those that be low are ultimately Israel with a low. Okay. But when you read verses 1 through 10, he's basically blaming Job for the things that are falling upon him. Okay. Pretty much calling him wicked. And that's why he's going through the affliction that he's going through. Okay, Job 5 and 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. Meaning he's making them haste to do the things that they're doing, but he's not doing it in a way where you can tell what's going on in the world. That Esau is in a part of all this crap, man. All this drug cartel bull crap. Brazil's always been like that, but he's running the same thing over there, showing you his influence. That's why they got that big, huge Jesus thing. As a matter of fact, a whole truck got flipped over in Brazil with the Jesus logo. It was trying to go over a bridge. It flipped over and went to some water I was watching. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's running some type of op over there, where he can see how people would react in a situation where you know, they're getting raided and things like that. Because some people, you know, some of those people are over here, some of these organizations. You know, so he's probably trying to see how he can make them react the way that he is. Putting people to death, turning this place into a war zone, justifying bringing in the military and all of that other stuff, keeping you in your house. You know, when you hear all the gunshots and everything, what are you going to do? You don't want to be mistaken as one of them. You don't want to be, you're going to want all that to stop. You know, And then they're going to keep beating you upside the head. They're going to be busting, making all types of noise outside, blowing shit up out there. And then on your TV telling you everyone's dying and 80 people arrested, 4 officers dead, and all of this. And you're going to hear nothing but mayhem. But in all actuality, you want to be focused on the Lord and what the Lord got going on. Because there might be a time you might have to, it says you're going to have to be like pilgrims within the earth, man. You know, it's going to be some terrible times. But him disappointing the devices of the crafty is him making it, it's not going to go as smoothly as, you know, they think it's going to happen. All right, we're going to implement the MOTB like this. You know, we're going to bring in this Black Swan event, because the electing, they're not going to be fooled by any of this. This is most of the people, they're going to be fooled, but those who are watching and expecting these things to happen, they're not going to be fooled at this, man. All right. Where's that precept? They shall yeah. I'll start at Matthew 24 and 20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be, except those days should be shortened. There should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And he's shortening the days, as you can see, with the way he's implementing all of these. Every single day is something new. Every day. You know, right now he got storms going wild. He got civil war in Brazil pretty much. You know, he's already talking about getting rid of your Bible app. So that's 3 different prophecies being fulfilled. You got the MOTB, you got the civil unrest, and you got famine of the word. You know, and the storms, which are signs showing you this is category 5. It's about to hit Jamaica tomorrow, the worst, and then it's saying it's going to go towards Cuba. Okay, Jamaica would represent the southern kingdom, and Cuba would represent the northern kingdom. You know, so these things are coming in, starting with you first. Matthew 24, verse 23. Then, if any man, and Amazon getting rid of 600,000 workers, showing you that Isaiah 19 and 15 is going to be, there's going to be no work for Egypt. Then you got Ma'am Donnie in New York City implementing laws saying they're going to give you all this stuff. Free buses. I think stabilized rent. He was saying all types of crazy stuff, man. And how do you think he's going to do that? By offering you something that you can't deny, some type of a deal. The things that you're complaining about, high student loans, can't pay your rent, you can't pay the price of food is too high. You know, and they're promising you something to get out of that, and everyone's rejoicing in that, but it's because they don't have an understanding of the scriptures, man. All of that's going to be destroyed. He tells you in Ezekiel the 5th chapter, he's going to break your staff of bread, and you're rejoicing that he can bring it back to you, and that's not what the Lord said. Okay, so if you're not aligned with what the Lord said, you're going to make the wrong decision, and that's going to cost you your life. All right. Matthew 24 and 22, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Let me see what they think this means. Let's see if Google knows about the elect. Matthew 24 verse 22 is a verse spoken by Yahweh Shai that states that during a future time of great tribulation, the days would be cut short or shortened for the sake of the elect or God's chosen people. Without this intervention, no human life would be saved from destruction. The shortened time period ensures the survival of a remnant and fulfills God's plan. That's right. You let this devil continue to do what he's doing, he would kill everybody. So the Lord is sending the judgment quick. In the grand scheme of things, it's very fast. He judged them within what 1, 2, 3 days. 1,000 years is as one day to the Lord. So it's really fast. Where's that at? I think that's 1 Peter 5 and 8. No, that's not it. Let's see what that's at. 1,000 years. Psalm 90 and 4. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday, when it is past, and as a watch in the night. No, 2 Peter 3, verse 8. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So him sending, this is going to be, because we're going second into the third day. He's going to send it quick. That's why when you look at that word headlong in Job, the 5th chapter, it's talking about hastening, making him do things faster. The fact that he's moving faster, you can see where he's messing up at. You can see how the plans come into pass. He's doing so much over here in the world, over there. He done went to Japan. He done went over here to, I forgot where did he go before that? He was in Qatar and all those, but he's everywhere, man, trying to make things happen. But at the same time, if you don't know what the prophecy say, you don't understand what's going on according to prophecy, and that's being prudent. Matthew 24 and 23, then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is a Mashiach, or there, believe it not, for there shall arise false Mashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And that's the thing. We're getting into the time of AI-generated videos where you might think you see something that is not. That's a form of a false prophet, him using his technology, which a lot of you believe in, to deceive you. And he can deceive you through your TV, okay, which is channeling spirits onto you. And if he can use that to deceive you, if it don't align with prophecy, it's probably fake. Okay, this is why it's important that you know these prophecies. But most importantly, that's for the elect. It said, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, because the elect are watching. Isaiah 44 and 25, that frustrated the tokens of the liars and make it diviners mad. Let's get this. Isaiah 44 and 25. Okay, Isaiah 44 and 25 means that God actively frustrates the signs and predictions of false prophets, makes diviners look foolish, and turns the wisdom of human scholars into foolishness, asserting his sovereignty over all human attempts to understand or control destiny. So he's going to make them look stupid. They're diviners. Let's look at this word diviners.
Strong's H, 7080. Kasam.
To practice divination. What's divination? Divination is the practice of seeking knowledge about the future or hidden truths through interpreting signs, omens, or other means. Often through a ritualistic process, it takes many forms, from astrology and tarot cards to reading tea leaves, palmistry, and even interpreting dreams. While some see divination as a way of organized random events to gain insight, others view it with suspicion, as it is sometimes forbidden in religious contexts and can be associated with supernatural or fraudulent practices. Okay, however they divine it to you, ultimately they're going to divine it to you through your pastors, everyone they control. But he's going to make them mad because it's not going to come to pass the way that they're telling you it's going to come to pass. They're going to be telling you it's okay to do this, that, and the third. And the scriptures speak against that. All right, that turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish, because everything they say that's gonna, all this peace and safety and getting back together, all that shit's not gonna come to pass. Isaiah 44:26, that confirmeth the word of his servant, and he's gonna confirm the words of his servants, the prophets, who've been prophesying, studying, knowing what's going on, and performeth the counsel of his messengers, and same people, the prophets. That saith to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited, into the cities of Judah ye shall be built, and I will raise up the decayed palaces, Salakia, places thereof, ultimately closing the breaches of the house of David. That's what's decayed. Okay, the second temple is destroyed in 70 AD, but not a Lord of Spirit. There's a spiritual temple that's being rebuilt. Okay, and that's the tabernacle of David. All right. And those are his elect, and those that pertain unto him, unto them. Isaiah 44:27, that saith to the deep, be dry, and I will dry up thy rivers. Let's see what this is talking about. Dry up thy rivers. Isaiah 44:27 means that God has absolute power over creation, able to command water to dry up to fulfill his will, much like how he dried up the Red Sea for the Israelites. This verse is often seen as a prophecy about the fall of Babylon, as King Cyrus later diverted the Euphrates River, a key part of the city, allowing his army to enter. The verse serves as a message of hope and assurance to God's people that no obstacle is too great for him to remove in order to bring about their redemption and restoration. I never knew King Cyrus did that. Did King Cyrus do something with the Euphrates River? Yes, King Cyrus famously diverted the Euphrates River to help conquer the city of Babylon. He did this by building a canal to drain the river, which allowed his army to march through the riverbed and into the city under the cover of darkness while the Babylonians were distracted by a festival. That's good to know. I didn't know that. There's a prophecy about the Euphrates River being dried up. And the Lord's, that's how the Lord did it before. He's probably going to do the same thing again. He might even just divert it. But he said the river's going to be dried up. And that's to help the military get over there too. It'll be easier to set up those bridges and get tanks over there into that land. Okay? And we coming into that time. Isaiah 44:28, thus saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure. Even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built into the temple, thy foundation shall be laid. Okay, during the time, that's what the Lord did to bring in the heathen against Babylon to restore the temple. And he's doing that again today.
Don't go fishing, do they? You know more about submarines than I do. You have a beauty park outside, actually. This is a submarine, and you know what it was designed for? Transporting drugs, and it got hit. But each one of those vessels that we hit kill on average 25,000 people, American people, every single year. They kill, each one of them kill 25,000 people. So we have to stop it, and we have stopped it, and I want to thank Pete for having the courage to do it. And believe me, people are very honored that you do it. 25,000 people for each boat. For many years, the drug cartels have waged war in America, and at long last, we're finally waging war in the cartels. We're waging war like they've never seen before. And we're going to win that battle. We're winning it already. The sea, I mean, the only problem is nobody wants to go into the sea anymore. Even the fishing boats, they say, let's take a pass. But they don't want that. But we're knocking them out one by one. And very importantly, we've almost stopped completely the drugs coming in by sea. and now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. That's going to be very easy. More importantly, we're ending wars. We're ending wars all over this planet. And as you know,
like, I don't know, man. Something tells me something's fishy about those damn boats in Venezuela, man. No one likes losing money every single day. If these are drug boats, why would I sit there and keep using that same, unless I'm distracting you? People don't take pleasure in losing billions of dollars every single day. They're gonna try to make a successful, bring it to somewhere. That makes me think that ain't what he's saying it is. You know, and with all this AI technology, man, who knows what the hell you're looking at when those things get blown up? You know, I wouldn't be surprised. But all this war on drugs, man, it was never about anybody but you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. This is the same thing he's pretty much saying with the war on drugs. Who's that? Is that Reagan? President, or is it Richard Nixon? President Richard Nixon is the president associated with the war on drugs, a term he popularized in 1971 when he declared drug abuse public enemy number one. Sounds like Duck is using this same play. While he also spoke of a need for rehabilitation and prevention, his administration initiatives heavily emphasized law enforcement and interdiction, a trend that has continued through subsequent presidential administrations. Okay. And what outcomes came from it? President Nixon officially about mass incarceration. The war on drugs contributed significantly to an unprecedented increase in the U.S. prison population, transforming the nation into the world's largest incarcerator. Okay, so Duck's doing the same thing. This war on drugs, Richard Nixon, drastically rising numbers. The number of people incarcerated for nonviolent drug offenses skyrocketed from 50,000 in 1980 to over 400,000 by 1997. Mandatory minimums policies like the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act established severe mandatory minimum sentences for drug offenses, which limited judicial discretion and helped drive up prison populations. And that's what he's trying to do. That's disparate sentencing. An extreme racial disparity in sentencing was created for crack versus powder cocaine, with punishments for crack more often used by Black Americans being far more severe. For example, in 1986, it took 500 grams of powder cocaine to trigger the same mandatory 5-year sentence as just 5 grams of crack cocaine. So it goes to show you, he don't give a fuck. It's the same shit. Just one's cooked, one's soft, but at the same time, one ingredient makes it 10 times, 100 times worse. Disproportionate impact on communities of color. And that's what, look at the disproportionate impact of all of his policies, man. They don't work on the so-called white man as bad as it's doing with you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The war on drugs has had a devastating and disproportionate effect on communities of color, especially Black Americans, which are pretty much Judah, Benjamin, Levi, the Southern Kingdom. Political motivation of former Nixon aide John Ehrlichman admitted the war on drugs was a political tool created to associate drug use with Black people and anti-war protesters, allowing the administration to criminalize both heavily. So people protesting, he'll criminalize you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and then come up against any other race that want to protest against his policies. Higher arrest and conviction rates. Even though studies show similar rates of drug use across racial lines, Black and Latino people are far more likely to be arrested, convicted, and receive longer sentences for drug offenses than white people. So there you go. You know, and you're more liable to cop out because you're not being judged by your peers. You're being judged by Edomites. And the Edomites are the dumbest people in the world. They're so easily swayed. That's why they don't even see. That's why I'm happy every time I see all this destruction coming to their ass. That's what they get. Systematic damage. The policies have led to generational cycles of poverty, the separation of families due to high incarceration rates, and a deep erosion of trust in law enforcement within minority communities. And all of that's coming back. Perpetuated cycles of poverty. Ultimately, yeah, perpetuated cycles of poverty. And we're starting to see that poverty. We got 2 more days until a new holiday. No SNAP November. The punitive policies have created long-term barriers that make it difficult for formerly incarcerated individuals to reintegrate into society. Barriers to resources, health, and housing consequences. Beyond incarceration, felony convictions negatively affect a person's access to stable housing and health care, which exacerbates addiction and perpetuates other negative health outcomes. Ineffective at curbing drug supply and demand. Despite decades of effort and trillions of dollars spent on law enforcement and interdiction, the war on drugs has largely failed to achieve its stated goal. Yeah, they never got rid of drugs. All these cartel boats, he think he's saving 25,000 Americans from death. Go out into your local community and see if you see the same drug dealers. Listen, it's still getting here. It's already here. Stable drug market. The campaign has had little to no effect on the supply of or demand for illicit drugs in the U.S. So if he's using the Nixon approach, he understands none of this worked in the first place. He's just using it to get the same result, mass incarceration. Okay, demonization of you, and then another thing is going to war. Those protesters, man, a lot of people had to lead a state. He gonna be sending y'all to war. High cost with minimal impact. For instance, between 1980 and 1992, cocaine use declined, yet the federal drug budget increased, suggesting a weak correlation between enforcement spending and drug use rates. And the same with the crime rates. A lot of the different areas he claims to be going in have been decreasing in crime, but the federal, ICE agents and things like that, that budget's increasing, yet the crime rate in the areas he wants to send people to, he even wants to send people to Boston. Boston's supposed to be super safe. And I know it's super safe because growing up, it wasn't sweet where I was growing up at. You get shot at. You get stabbed. It was nothing. That was a normal, everyday thing. Increase black market dangers. By pushing the drug trade further underground, prohibition created a more dangerous and unregulated market. The presence of powerful synthetic opioids like fentanyl, which often contaminate other street drugs, has led to a dramatic rise in overdose deaths. All right. Yeah, synthetic drugs, man. Ultimately, the Chinese, man. I don't see you at their borders blowing up their drug ships. Isn't that where fentanyl's coming from? Okay, so you're not even coming up against the real problem. You talk about heroin and shit like cocaine. That's not what people are using anymore. They're using Fetty. And that's supposed to be coming from China. But where's the toughness against them? This is why these countries are aiming to get nuclear missiles so quickly. Because he can just demonize you, but when you got a missile, now he want to talk to you. But when you don't got that, he ready to stomp on you. Okay, that's why the weak are saying I'm strong now. Going into Joel, the 3rd chapter. Shift towards alternative approaches in recent years. A growing consensus that the war on drugs failed has led to calls for significant reform, harm reduction, sentencing reform, drug courts, and diversion. Many jurisdictions now use drug courts and diversion programs to direct nonviolent offenders to treatment and counseling instead of prison, which has shown to reduce recidivism more effectively and at a lower cost. 50 years ago was what? This is what he's bringing back, man. Same type of policies, same type of rhetoric.
Oh, and I said before, I ended 8 wars in 8 months, the most of any president in history. No president that we know has ever ended any war. A lot of them go into wars. But this includes Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and India.
Sounds like there's another war in Brazil, civil war. All right. Gaza war was unsuccessful, so you still, if you're counting that as 8, that's a lie. Okay, that never stopped. India's at war with the Taliban, so they went from one border to the other side of the border. You think you stopped that, but then they just pointed their guns at somebody else. He stopped it. Oh man.
Israel and Iran, you saw that. Israel and Iran, you saw that. How about those B-2 bombers? They went in there, they took out that nuke. Iran.
Hold on, let me hear this.
But this includes Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran.
The Congo and Rwanda. Come on, get the hell out of here. Is Congo still at war? No, they were killing, last time I heard. Ain't nothing popping up. Is Congo still at war? June 9th, 2025. Come on. Nothing's popping up, whatever.
You saw that. How about those B-2 bombers? They went in there, they took out that nuclear capability. They would have had, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 months. Not anymore. Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, that was going on for 35 years. Big, horrible war. And just this month we ended the war in Gaza, the Middle East. We ended the war in the Middle East. Nobody thought it was possible.
He's still trying to take credit for it. They're clearly going to war right now. War in Gaza, news. Israeli government approves first part of peace deal to release hostages. That's 3 weeks ago. War in Gaza. Israeli strikes killed 33 in Gaza. Hamas runs civil defense says. That's an hour ago. All right. And this is what? 5 hours ago. Bullshit.
And we also just signed a deal in Malaysia between a war that was just starting, Cambodia and Thailand. So we saved millions and millions of lives, and I did it mostly verbally. We didn't have to get you involved. When we don't get you involved, that's a good thing. We don't want you to get involved. If I can avoid you getting involved, if I have an ability to do things that maybe other people don't, or we see things, but
you about to get involved very greatly. All right. He already got you involved. He already sent 200 troops over there in Gaza. All right. And the whole Northern Army, you going over there. And it says you're going to be dashed to pieces. So that's not a war you're going to win. All right. And he's going to be the one to bring you over there. And because you lack knowledge, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're going to be destroyed over there.
We stopped a lot of those wars based on trade and tariffs and penalties. And, you know, they're getting all ready to fight, and then we tell them, no more trading with the United States. We're putting tariffs on your nation, et cetera, et cetera. It's called national security for us, but it's really national security for the whole world and everywhere we go.
Yep. You think the sanctions are going to help you, but Russia ain't going to be going for that. And that's the biggest threat, according to prophecy, of course. Isaiah 13:17, behold, I'll stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So where he's been able to succeed in these other places, the Medes, which are the Russians, they're not falling for that. They don't care about sanctions and things, trade deals and shit like that. They're sick of that. they're gonna shoot fire on you, man. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity upon the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which was with fire and brimstone. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So nobody's going to inhabit this place. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. So wild beasts of the desert shall lie here, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her day shall not be prolonged. And I'm going to end it here.